Hey, beautiful people of the internet, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully great. Welcome to Budget Builds, where we use zero Forma and achieve maximum efficiency. Today, we're taking a closer look at Inaros, the mummified tank. Now, in order to get this Warframe, you guys need to go and complete the Sands of Inaros quest. In order to get this quest, you guys have to go and buy it from Barricadier. If you guys don't know who Barricadier is, he's basically a void trader that comes once every 2 weeks, so aka twice a month, and he will always sell the quest. It's guaranteed. Anyways, Spartan, kick the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. Let's take a closer look at Inaros. So before I give you guys the build, let's take a closer look at Inaros' passive and his abilities. So, his passive, basically when Inaros gets down, he will then go into his sarcophagus. He will then try to revive himself by trying to steal the life force of nearby enemies. Desecration. This is his number one ability. Basically, Inaros will then throw sand into the enemy's eyes, therefore blinding them. It will then also open them up to finisher damage. Doing so will then cause lifesteal effect. So in other words, by executing the enemies, you will gain your health back. Devour. What Inaros does here is that he throws his ropes at the enemies, drags them up close and personal, and what will happen is he will then devour the enemy's life force. Doing so will then regenerate your own health, and you'll then get a sand buddy, or a sand shadow as the description says it. Next up we've got ourselves Sandstorm, and as the ability implies, you become a literal sandstorm, throwing enemies all around and damaging them. And finally we've got ourselves Scarab Swarm. Basically, Inaros will sacrifice his health and will harden his skin, giving him more armor. Now there is more to this ability, but I don't really use the other half of the ability. So now that we know exactly how his abilities work, let's move on to the build section of this video, that being Inaros's. Alright, so here's the build. Of course, you know it's zero Forma, so we're not gonna be using any of that on this channel. So let's start with the aura. So we've got ourselves corrosive projection. You guys can use anything else as long as it's got a dash polarity, energy siphon, shield reduction, or any other. I know there's more auras that have dash polarities, but any aura will work. Next up we've got ourselves handspring for more recovery. Basically when we get knocked down, and this happens very frequently, you will get up almost immediately. We've got ourselves rage. That way when we take health directly to our health, we'll take 40% of that damage and convert it into energy. We've got ourselves vigor. Now don't butcher me in the comment section about how I should not be using vigor because of the Inaros has no shield by default. We still take advantage of the 120% health. You guys can add something else so long as it's got 11 mod capacity. Next up we've got ourselves adaptation. Basically any form of damage that gets thrown at us, we will negate it. We've got ourselves Gladiator Aegis for more armor, Vitality for more health, Gladiator Resolve for even more health, and finally we've got ourselves Steel Fiber for even more armor. And we've also got ourselves Negation Swarm, and here's the augment. Scarab Armor protects Inaros from status effects, consuming 3% bonus armor for each effect resisted. So in other words, the way that this augment is going to work is when you activate Scarab Armor, so in other words you have to hold down 4, a number from 0 to 100% will go up. The cap is of course 100%, but every time you get hit by a status effect, that 100% will degrade by 3 per status effect you get hit. Arcanes wise, now these are pretty important, they help a lot. We've got ourselves Guardian for more armor, and we've got ourselves Grace for more health regeneration, making us even more tankier. And that's all. You guys can replace vigor with more range for your number one. So like say a stretch, you know, for more range. That way you guys can blind more enemies. Or even an overextended. You don't need power strength with this build. You really don't. But that's entirely up to you guys. More range for your blinding and more range for your sandstorm if you want it that way. But that's entirely up to you guys. So here's the build. Use it as a formula. Make your heart's desires build. So yeah, Now let's go test out Inaros' survivability against high level enemies. The one thing I forgot to mention is that if you use the gladiator mods in combination together, what will happen is that you'll get the advantage of the set bonus. So in this case, my weapons in general will gain more crit. The really cool thing about building Inaros for pure survivability is the fact that when you take him to a mission, that being the sortie or a star child mission, you are invincible. And because you're invincible, his playstyle does favor melee only, as you guys can see from the background. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today's video. If you guys liked it and if it's helped you, leave a like, Spartan kick the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.